19 official visitors on campus at USC this weekend. We got a lot to talk about. That's why I'm bringing on Scott Schrade of our USC site. He is the insider here at On3 when it comes to all things Trojans. We're going to go behind the scenes of this big official visit weekend at USC. Now, he's also been doing a great job of covering all the action this weekend over at We Are SC. Go check that out. But first, make sure you guys are subscribed to the On3 Recruit channel, the best site for recruiting info anywhere on YouTube. So go ahead, hit subscribe. All right, thank you. Let's bring on Scott Schrader. Now, Scott, phenomenal job covering this craziness at USC this weekend, but you called your shot this morning. In an insider piece that you published on your site, you said at least 3 commitments expected this weekend, and one, at least at the moment that we tape this, Hayden Lowe, 4-star edge out of LA, he committed. So there's still 2 more out on the board that you are thinking will end up in USC's commit class. But right now, tell us, who have you predicted to land in this class from the weekend?
I submitted a prediction this morning. It was for Hayden Lowe. He's a local defensive lineman from a really strong program called Oaks Christian, and he's been a guy that, I wasn't really quite sure where he stood with USC until a couple of weeks ago. I think Oregon was starting to feel good about him, and USC got him to change his official visit plans from doing it during the season to taking it this weekend. So I really well, put a prediction in for him. He just announced, I don't know, what was it, like a half an hour ago?
Yeah.
And about an hour or so ago, I put a prediction in for Floyd Buchard from Miami. I think he's from there's some of these guys, actually, I didn't even know USC was that high on and how hard they were recruiting guys. So Floyd was one of those guys. So I put a prediction in for him. He was a guy that I had heard they felt really good about. So those are the 2 predictions right now. Right. I do know that they also felt really good about an offensive lineman, Nick Brooks from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
All right. Now, it's always interesting on these official visit weekends at USC. You kind of get a feel for who they are making a priority. And like you said, some of these guys are coming off the board. Now, one name that doesn't need to come off the board, we hope he stays on the board, that's Julian Lewis, the 5-star quarterback from Carrollton, Georgia, the USC commitment, making his triumphant return for his official visit to USC this weekend. How did it go? What are you hearing coming out of this one?
I'm honestly, he's actually one guy that I haven't had any contact with his dad or him yet. Haven't really hit up anybody, affiliated with USC to ask about him. And I it's going to be one of those things to where, I want to, because it's probably going to learn a lot about what he was able to do with some of the guys. I do know he spent time with the receivers that were there, like Andrew Marsh and Corey Sims, Dalen McCutcheon. So those were big guys that were there. Also was Romero Eisen, a USC wide receiver commit, was at USC this weekend for his official visit. So, we will hit him up. But, Juju is a situation to where, it's been a half a year minimum of stories about him potentially flipping his commitment. And I'm not saying those stories weren't legit, but I've never once felt like that was something that was imminent. Like, we felt like it might be. So I wasn't really all that concerned about whether he was going to stick with his commitment or not. So that storyline was kind of like out of my head. But, I do know that his pop hit me up a couple of times. So I know the visit was going extremely well.
All right. Yeah. And after talking with Juju Lewis here in Nashville for the On3 Elite Series, I feel very confident in his commitment to USC at this point. Yes, he is taking these visits. We'll see ultimately what happens. He told me that some point in July, he plans to completely shut things down. Now, at this point, I got no reason to believe he flips, but just how important is it to have a presence like Juju Lewis on campus for a weekend like this?
This is just also is a conversation that I've had with his father, TC. It's kind of like the receiver situation with recruiting for USC. They're going to need to bring in 4 or 5 receivers in this class, and it's kind of been creeping along at a really slow pace with as far as gaining commitments or even feeling like guys were close to committing. So this weekend, 3 of USC's top receiver targets were, one's committed, so we'll say the targets are now the uncommitted guys, were on campus this week. So it was it was huge that those guys were there. And the feedback that I got from Corey Sims and from Andrew Marsh so far, they had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with him. And to them, it's a really big deal that he is a quarterback commit for USC. And I think that July date, if that happens where he kind of firms things up and is like, yeah, this is it. It's USC.
Yeah.
I think some guys need to hear that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll help kind of build that offensive class around Juju Lewis. But all right, so we'll catch up with you later this week and get more details on that. But who else from the weekend do you feel like USC made a move on? Or, hey, USC fans should just keep an eye on these prospects?
There were three guys that they felt they made a significant move with, and they're feeling really strong with, and that was Dorian Brew, cornerback from Texas, Dalen McCutcheon, a wide receiver from Texas, and Andrew Marsh also. So those are three guys, and there's another group of guys that they're feeling pretty darn good with, and that was Riley Pettijohn, and Christian Gass, and those are two other names, and I think there might be another defense. This is one of those things that you want to catch up really, really fast, and sometimes sources don't get back to you as fast as you would like.
Hey, we're taping this on Sunday, my man. I know by Monday morning you'll have all the juice, but we're trying to tape this on Sunday. So, yeah, it's a work in progress. These guys are still on campus, some of them.
I mean, they are. There's a few, correct. So, I just got a text from USC coach, in fact, just about 2 seconds ago, and it was 3 fire emojis, right? So he's all fired up about the latest commitment and where they kind of stand with defensive line recruiting right now. I don't know if this is a topic we were going to cover, but they're in a situation where USC's defensive line coach doesn't want to sign a good recruiting class. He wants to sign the best one ever.
You can feel that.
So and whether that happens or not, it's like, okay, it's easier said than done. But at least if you're going after that is your goal, to go after guys that will take you there. USC hasn't had that for a long, long time. So it's really kind of made it entertaining for me, because they have a chance with guys I did not think that they would have a year ago.
Yeah, really interesting time coming out of this big official visit weekend. USC fans, tap in with us. Comment section below. How you feeling from the weekend? One commitment so far, at least at the time that we tape this. But who else do you think is going to jump on board after this weekend? Tap in, let us know. Comment section below. Well, you've made it to the end of today's video, but there's hundreds more videos on the On3 Recruits channel for you to check out. And also, while you're here, hit subscribe.